Good afternoon, evening, everybody. It's Crafty Chris here. Hello, hello, hello. Um, Tonight, I'm not doing a scrap your scraps. Tonight, I'm going to show you my process. I've been asked to do two bags for an auction and painting um, a sunflower with the Ewing's Cancer logo. And so I'm going to kind of go through it with you because I thought it was an interesting project that you might want to see how it happens. So I do not pretend to be a famous artist of any sort, but I think I can manage a sunflower, and so well, I guess we'll find out if I can or not. So the paints that I'm using for this project, this is a faux leather bag, and so acrylic paint will work well on this. I may want to do some sealing, I'm not sure, but the inks that I'm using are fluid acrylics. They're a Deco Art product, and they come in a whole bunch of different colors. So a couple of things that I'm going to need before I begin is the actual purse, an idea of what I'm doing, and my paints, which I'll just put off screen and I'll let you know what color I'm using. The other thing I need is a palette and some water. So I think if I get those things together, that should work out to be good enough. And I'm going to have my spray bottle too in case I need to fix some errors. Some of this stuff is going to be off screen. So what I use for a palette is just the bottom of a cake pan, because I don't do a lot of painting, so I don't have fancy equipment for that. That's probably going to stay on the table beside me. That's my mixing. I've got a water bin, so I can empty out my dirty water and replace it with clean water. As I go, I have a wet cloth, and I have my paintbrushes that I like to use when I'm painting. And get myself all organized here. I have my water bottle, which has extra water, plus also I can spray and clean mistakes. And now I need to do my choice for colors. So this is a dark green background, which means that if I'm going to put petals or anything on it, I have to do a lighter green for it to show up. But I have this idea I saw on Pinterest, and I'm going to do a sunflower in the center, and I think I'm going to have butterflies coming off the side, as if the flower is bursting into butterflies. And it is something that I saw on Pinterest, and I can get that information and post it at the end, so if you need to see what that looks like. And not all art comes from the brain, you know, sometimes you don't have brain power to make that work, and so you borrow, and borrowing's just fine. Okay, so I'm pulling out my yellow colors. I don't want to get into oranges because I find that orange just makes it a little too much. Now I have a number of yellows. I have primary yellow, I have diarylide yellow, I hope I've said that right. I have yellow iron oxide, and I have yellow oxide. So I don't know if I'm going to need them all. For sure I'm going to be using the bright yellow, because that probably will go. Oh, I haven't even opened this. Woohoo! I like it when I'm starting something for the first time. It's exciting. Okay, so we're going to get that lemon yellow on there. Shake it up a little bit, because sometimes things settle over time if you don't use them all the time. Ooh, sounds a little hard in there. So I'm just going to shake that up. So for sure I am going to have this lemony yellow color. Ooh, yeah, that doesn't look good. It may be too old. Let me see if I can shake it a little more. And these are, as I said, acrylics. Oh, that's not going to be too good. Let me see if that is even transparent or opaque enough. Let's get our swash brush out. Oh. So I have a bunch of different heads for brushes, and when I'm doing large leaves, I like to use an angled brush because then I get a nice sweep to it. So let's put that there for now. Small work area. I'm just going to test this to see if this is even going to work. Looks like it might have been heated somewhere. And yeah, no, it's totally transparent. So I am going to have to put a little bit of a matte down, or mix a little bit of texture in there. Okay, let's see what happens with the white. Oh, that's gold. It's always good to have some white around. And let me see what I can use for this. I want to mix it. I have a couple of things I'm going to try here. I have a little bit of Distress Picket ink, which might give us a background for the yellow so that it's not transparent. And then I also have a little bit of gesso, which will help to prime the surface a bit so the color will show better on it. So that might be what I do first. So let's get, all right. So I'm just going to put a little gesso on the plate. This is a crummy paintbrush. It's just so if I need it, I've got it. And let's see what happens. This is really unfortunate, but like all paints, they do sit, and you do have to work them out, and sometimes they work out quickly, and sometimes not so much quickly. So I'm just going to get this wiped up a little bit because that's way too watery. Alrighty. Let's just do a tiny bit more. Okay. It's getting a little better. There we go. Not quite so runny. Now I just want to wet my brush. Alright, so I'm going to take some of the white paint, and I am just going to kind of put strokes. Oh, you can't see it. I'm putting my lightest color first because I'm grouping layers. And I've added a bit of white, and basically my flower is going to go in there. So I'm going to have a flower there. Oh, look at that. Acrylic doesn't like plastic. And I want oil paint. Okay, so you know what? We're going to put a gesso background. That's what's going to happen now. Okay, I've decided that I'm going to put some white gesso on the background first, where my flower is going to be, so that it will stick, the color will stick to the and I'm just kind of figuring out what size it needs to be, and then from there Nice big round flat. So, is that going to be big enough? I think I maybe want it just a little bit more, a little bit bigger. So it comes down and around here. And this is where they're going to go flying off. There we go. And I can just blend that in. There we go. And now my colors should lay fairly nicely on top of that. There we go. So that should be the whole size of the flower. And now I'm just going to let that dry for a few minutes. Sometimes if I work it, it dries it more quickly. But I can also put a light bit of heat on it. Not too much because it is a plastic surface. And I'm just going to wash my brush out here so it doesn't get hard. And add water to my, or add gesso to my cleaning water. There we go. A little more water just to get that all out. I will be dipping in and out of that, so I just want to make sure that my brush doesn't go hard before I need to do that. Alright, now let's just do a quick dry over top of that. And I'm using a very, very quick, moving it very quickly over top because I don't want to heat the bag. But I do want to dry out the gesso a little. And the gesso is going to have a matte finish, which will help to accept the paint. So just very quickly over it. Test it every once in a while. Yep, I'm almost done. Okay, so that's done. I just want it to cool off. And again, I'm going to try to mix up this yellow a little bit. And let's see what happens when we do our first flower. Alright, so I'm going around and I'm putting petals. There's going to be a number of layers of petals. So this is kind of like the outer layer. And they're not all the same. Get a little more yellow out. And I'm just phasing in my colors. And I think I might have to go and get a different yellow because this is really not working. Yeah, we're going to have to do a different yellow. Okay, I got another yellow, and I also wiped away that section of paint. And let me just get this open. This one I'm hoping will work better. And we'll just wipe away that other yellow because it's not opaque enough. And clean up my brush. So you do have to use your materials. You can't let them just sit there forever. This one is DecoArt American acrylic. Oh yeah, much different texture, much thicker. Let's see what happens when we put that on. There we go. And much better. And you would just continue to put layers on over and over again. And I would dry in between. There we go. And we're just going to have a few things come out there, and now I'm going to add a bit more. Okay, so I'm starting to see my flower coming out here. We're just kind of filling in. And I will be doing some darker, some lighter. Okay, so our sunflower is starting to build. Now I want to take this color out of my brush, and I'm going to start to give some detail to my sunflower. So I'm going to wash that right in there in my water so I can get it nice and clean. And the next color I'm going to use is going to be sort of a yellow ochre. And acrylic dries fairly quickly, and I'm just going to give a little hit of heat in the center section so that I can continue to add. This will start to show some of the dimension. Alrighty. There we go. That looks great. Get all the water out. Okay, so now we're going to start to blend in some additional color here. Okay. And I think that's all I want in there. So I'm just going to fill this white spot in so we can start to see the center of the flower. A bit of gunk there. Alrighty. So we're starting to see, and it's all about going back and forth with the detail. So I'm going to steal a little bit of this. And just fill in a few spots, and then you will begin to see some detail coming in. And it's just a hit and miss there until I get things building up. There we go. I don't really have any kind of a formula for what I'm doing. I just have a picture in my head of what a sunflower looks like, and I have to be more, I'm going to do some detail outlining of the flowers afterwards with black. And now I'm on to yellow iron ochre or oxide. Whoop, wrong brush. Where'd my brush go? There it is. And you have to make sure you don't spill stuff elsewhere. Gotta get the moisture off. There we go. Okay, now, oh, that doesn't look very dark at all. I might have to go into some brown. And now we're starting to see a little bit of the details of the flowers coming in. Keeping it very thin. And start start to see some flowers building there. And getting some of the detail. Okay, starting to see a little bit of what's happening here. Just have to sort of pick my spots. Okay. And now I'm going to go heavier around here. And build outward. Alrighty. There we go. It's almost like a brush in a way. Alrighty, I think maybe a little bit more there, a little more there and there. And I think I'm going to have to go back and do a little more yellow in some of these places. Okay, that'll get us started. And now I'm going to clean that out, and now we're going into tiny bit of orange, tiny bit of orange. I don't want to do too much because I don't know how far I want to go with this. It's been a long time since I've painted. Okay, so hot. Can't really see it on the camera, but I'm following some of these lines with some little bits of orange. Okay, I think I'm going to need to add some more yellow. Before I go further, because I don't like how it's turning out on the edges there. And that's okay. Just fill it in. And this is going to have to be filled in. Yes. So these I'm going to probably have to do again. There we go. Yeah, these are too light. There we go. Now I'm liking this better. So I think I need to do a dry in between, just to make sure that these spots stay dark. Probably should have done the entire flower building process with the gesso. That would have helped. I've never painted on a purse before, so you're getting my first attempts here. I know I'll have to seal it, because if it rains, this will end up washing off. Or at least, if not washing off, definitely wearing and tearing. Okay. So starting to look better. Happier with the density. And the shape is coming through better. Okay, so having done that, I think I just want to dry that a tiny bit before I move on. Make sure it's not too hot. I see a couple more places where I need to put just a little more. Big white ridge there. Not really thrilled with that. So I know what I'm going to do. Oops. Just spread that out a little. So you don't see that circle-y bit so much. I don't mind it as harsh here because we're going to be doing independent butterflies along there. All right, dry that a little bit and then okay, while I let that repair dry a little bit, I'm going to start to build the center, and I'm using raw umber and what's this one? Burnt sienna, a little bit of Payne's gray, and what do we got there? Let's see, what else is hanging on here? And a tiny bit of quinacridone violet, because a little bit of tiny bit of red there. All right, so now I'm going to start the center section while the rest is drying, and then I'll go back. Now the center section, I actually want to use a different brush. I'm going to use my round head brush, which usually isn't even in the bag because I use it so much. And it's not in the bag. There it is. So this is the round-headed brush I like. Gives me some flexibility. And then I also have a detail brush in there. So this and this are going to stay there. Okay, bringing back our purse. All right, so in the center, I'm going to switch my canvas around, or my tray around. Put these guys to one side. Now, I am going to put down a couple of the dark colors first. Ooh, shake them. Okay, so I've got the raw umber. Should probably not have that on top of something. There we go. The Payne's gray, which is almost black. The violet, and the burnt sienna. And this is all to give it a bit of three-dimensional feel to it. Alrighty, so we're going to start with the darkest color. I'm just going to wet my brush. No, I don't think I will. I think I'll start. So I'm going to start with my Payne's Gray, and I'm just going to start dapping that in there. And I'm doing sort of like a pointillistic in different directions because I don't want them all to go the same way. And it's going to be a big center section. And we're just tapping that all in there. Make sure you have enough ink, or paint rather, not ink. I'm going to go out a little bit further in this area. And I'm just tapping the whole area. Okay. And if you move your paintbrush into different directions, it helps sort of get the feeling of the organization. Go right up to the edge there. Okay, so we're starting with the black. Now I can always go back in and create more black, or I can just keep using my colors from dark to light and dry a little bit in between. Seems to help it. The whole thing. One thing I want to try to avoid is to mix the colors here, because I do want them to be little dots. Make sure the purse is not getting too hot. Alright. Okay, now we're going to go in with our brown. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to dot. And this is far more transparent, so you're not going to see it quite as much. But it is there. And if we dot it fairly thickly, it should be visible when you see the bag in person. And this dries a different color as well when it's dry. And you got quite a bit of shine of light in there, so you may not see much. I'll move it around once to give it a little bit of dry. Oh, can't see it myself. Sorry, I'm just doing some background here to even out the circle. So you're not going to get to see it for a minute. Gonna need some more black there. Okay, so there we're going. And I think I might have too much on there. So let me see if I can remove some of that. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to go to the red. In the red, hang on, just want to make sure I'm nice and dry. And the red is just going to be little tiny dots here and there, filling in. Sort of randomly. So you can see a change of color there. Not trying to put too much of the red in though. Just a little bit. Okay, and now I'm going to try that a minute. Okay, so now grab my brush that just fell on the floor. There we go. All right, and now I'm going to touch with the light brown, and again just doing a tiny bit of that. I think I have squirrels in my house. I can hear something running around in the walls. Oh no. That is not good. Okay, so into our brown, and we are just touching the light brown here and there. You can see a little bit of it. It'll mellow out when it dries out a tiny bit. You just want to add some of that color. And I'm not finished here with the flowers yet, so whoops, I almost put that in the wrong color. And there's a build there. Little build so you can get the idea that light is reflecting off of certain parts. Okay, so if you can see that, there's the build, and we're going to let that dry. And now I am going to grab my butterfly business. All right, I was looking for some butterfly stamps or something that I could use, but I don't like the way any of them look. So I think I am going to go on my own and just do it. I'm going to do them with white gesso first, and I'm going to get a little tiny flat guy. No, maybe I should have a tiny round guy. There's my, or can I do that? Okay, I'm going to get a tiny round one, and that's that. Okay. I got a big round and a tiny round. And, you know, butterflies are basically simple to do. They are, you know, what they are. So I'm going to start with my biggest one first. I'm going to start with my tiny. So I am going to have him, actually I need to do a yellow ribbon. So I'm going to put that there, and I'm just doing this all like sketching. So it's going to be coming out with the butterflies. And so here's a butterfly. And I need a little tiny bit of water. Make that a little more square. I can get into details later. There's one butterfly. There we go. That's helping loosen things up a little bit. And then we're going to have some little butterflies coming out of here. And some little ones coming out of here. Some are flying in one direction, others are flying in other directions. And they're changing size as they fly. And every butterfly is different. And so this is kind of like where the butterfly is going to be. And there we go. This is going to be sort of like a mothy butterfly. He's going to hide underneath. You have little stories about my butterflies. And then there's going to be another decent sized one here. There we go. There we go, and see our butterflies are leaving from our have some more little ones here. Okay. And let's see how we doing there. Maybe another one in here. And this is going to be the ribbon. So it's going to be fairly thick. Just mapping out the under and upper side. All right. I just want to maybe make that a little pointier. This is where my brain gets lost in it. Come on, come out. With this kind of snake skin stuff, it's very hard to get in all the nooks and crannies. But we have to try to balance them out. And now I'll just fill these guys in. The nice thing about butterflies is as you are filling them in, if you mess up, you can just make them a different shape. It's a little easier to play on. This is going to have one of those whippy tail things. And this comes down a little bit sharper. There we go. So we have butterflies exiting our little sunflower. And just a little bit more if I can squeeze it out of my... There we go. And do I need a few more? Let's get some more of this. And we're just going to put a few other ones in here. And now I think I'm just going to do some outline ones. So I'm going to need my strongest artistic arm. Drawing an outline one here or there. And I may do that with a different pen. I think I might use my paint pen for that, because I don't really have a steady hand for this kind of stuff. And these are supposed to be outlines. Let's see. And over here. There we go. I'll make those outline ones a little bit more outlining. Okay, so now we have to go back to where we were with the, where's my brush? There we go. No, wrong brush. We're going to go and fix up this stuff right here. So we need some more yellow, because our yellow has died. There we go. Alright, so now there we go. Alright, that's much better. See, we've lost that circle now, so I'm feeling much better about that. And we're starting to see individual flower petals happening here. It's perfect. So I'm just gonna okay. Okay. Alrighty. There we are. A lot more impactual. Okay. That's looking good. Okay, now I'm going to go back and do that process again, just with the browns, the light browns. And so I need, that's done. I need these two. And this one. Bit of fudge in there, that's okay. Alright. Make sure my thing is dry. And we're just gonna oops, wrong color. And we're just going to try bringing life to the flowers now. Alright, and now, oops, just painted this side of my purse. And now we're going to add that dark bit in there. Oops, got a little too much there. Pull that out. Pull that out. So this is a very quiet time, because this is where I'm sort of figuring out where my colors are going. And lightly drawing finishing touches on the leaves. go. Now they are coming to life. So what have we got going on there? So we need to pull. There we go. Alright. Okay, so now I just want to touch up a little tiny bit with some of my black and my fine tip. I don't want it to be too wet. There we go. And just adding that in. Making sure that anything that's there as black reads as black, or Payne's gray, whatever. There we go. Alrighty. Okay, so now we're going to do with our fine we're going to do our yellow again on the butterflies. And the ribbon. So this is going to take some time because we want it to be and we're going to have to go over this a couple of times. So I'll have to let this dry in between. Oops, that's way too much. Then we're going to fill in the butterflies. Just go like that. Butterflies now get colored in as carefully as possible. Crazy how it just kind of sticks on the edges. Okay, so I'm just going to be doing this to all the rest of them, and I'll check back with you in a few minutes because you don't need to watch me do that. Sorry about that. I got carried away doing the painting, and I forgot to turn the video back on. So I'm just adding some detail to the butterflies to get them a little bit more up, you know, bright to see, to be able to see them. And give them some depth. So this is my little tiny brush that I'm doing this with. And the idea is just to have these all visible. All right. Some dimension to them. Then let's see. There we go. Just play with it a little bit. Now, on this, I think I'm just going to put some orange at the top here. And a little orange. Just here. And here. Now I gotta figure out which way the the actual sign is. Right over left. Okay. All right. Whoops! I just picked up some brown on my marker, or on my marker. My paintbrush. My paintbrush needs a clean. There we go. Alrighty. Yes, it is right over left. And so now I'm going to focus on doing this ribbon. And then the underside. So if the ribbon goes up like that, folds over and comes across here. Okay. Alrighty, and then it's going to be dark underneath there as well. Okay. And then there we go. Right, now back to the orangey color here. Beautiful. It's hard to be steady with these fine paint brushes, especially when you're trying to follow a line perfectly. Screw that up. There we go. And there we go. There. Ooh, that's a nice one. This one isn't as nice. Alrighty, and then we have one other one under here. The thicker you put the paint on, the better it is, but then it has to dry thoroughly. That's why it's kind of better to do layers, but layers take time. So I have no idea how long this video is right now. So I think I am just going to show you a final glimpse of the direction I'm taking, and then hopefully you'll see it online on the Ewing's Cancer fundraiser, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. All right, so there she is, the finished canvas. I've got some more dimensional work to do with other colors to make these a little more dimensional, but basically that is the finished project. I hope you don't mind me jumping in with a couple of new things here and there every once in a while. So I'm going to say good night. Thank you for watching. And it's Crafty Chris saying good night. Bye now.